Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're doing something pretty cool. We are going to bridge the world of deep philosophical inquiry with the hard, rigorous reality of data analysis. And honestly, we're going to do it all using a simple, everyday object. We're going to explore how we move from a state of fully acknowledging our own limitations to actually building a far more accurate picture of the universe around us. It's an amazing journey, so let's get right into it.
Section 1. Do I know the spoon? The illusion of knowledge. Okay, let's dive into this.
I want you to imagine right now that there is a standard everyday spoon resting on a table directly in front of you. I've got a very direct question for you. Do you know the spoon? Now, if someone asked you that out of the blue, your immediate knee-jerk reaction would almost certainly be, well, yeah, obviously I know what a spoon is. I'm not a toddler. Or, maybe you're thinking there is no spoon, Matrix style. But I want you to actually pause and honestly consider that immediate assumption. Do you truly know it?
See, when you confidently say, I know this spoon, your brain is actually just doing a bunch of rapid-fire back-end work, compiling a checklist of sensory data. You recognize its long shape, you can see it's made of some kind of metal, you know from past experience that if you were to pick it up, it would feel a bit cold to the touch. You know it's easily graspable by your hand, and functionally, you know it's a tool used for eating food. And because your brain processes all these distinct inputs so unbelievably quickly and automatically, you just effortlessly jump straight to the conclusion. Boom, I know this boom.
Moving to Section 2, Reality versus Representation, the Epistemic Gap. But here is exactly where we need to hit the pause button. This brings us to the core philosophical conflict of our whole topic today. There is a massive and, quite frankly, often invisible gap between what actually exists out there in the physical universe and what we merely perceive inside our minds. And this brilliantly illustrates that divide. On one side, we have reality, the actual physical spoon existing independently in space and time. But on the other side, we have representation, the spoon you hold in your head. What you actually possess isn't the physical object itself. What you possess is a really complex mashup of observation, physical sensation, past experience, memory, language, and conceptual categorization. The actual physical spoon and your mental spoon are absolutely not the same thing. Reality does not equal representation. And this realization brings us to a vital concept called the don't know mind. Now, don't get me wrong, this does not mean utter ignorance. It doesn't mean you look at a spoon and have absolutely no clue what to do with it. Rather, it is a conscious statement of epistemic limitation. It's the profoundly humbling realization that your perception, your internal mental model, is simply not identical to the whole, complete object. You don't possess reality itself. You just possess an interpretation of it. And embracing this limitation, that is actually the true, most honest starting point of all rigorous scientific analysis. Section 3, Statistics as one flashlight, applying philosophy to data. So you might be wondering, how does this philosophical thought experiment about silverware actually apply to the real world? Well, let's seamlessly shift our narrative from the humble spoon over to the hard science of statistics and data workflows. Because in statistics, we face the exact same problem. We cannot directly observe the entirety of reality, which statisticians call the population. We just can't possess it. So what do? We take a linear descent. We pull a sample. From that tiny sample, we extract data. We run that data through a statistical analysis. And finally, we arrive at a hypothesis test, which very often just results in a single, tiny metric like a t-value or a p-value. Think about that for a second. We've moved from an unimaginably vast reality all the way down to a single isolated number. So the crucial point we have to keep in mind is this: t-values and p-values are absolutely not reality. Let's say you hypothesize that an average score in some test is 70, and your p-value comes back small enough that you confidently reject that hypothesis. You haven't magically discovered an absolute universal truth that the average is definitely not 70. Nope. What you've actually found is that under your current statistical assumptions, and with this specific limited sample, the evidence is simply incompatible with that hypothesis. It is an interpretation, it's a representation, it is not reality itself. To really anchor this concept in your mind, let's return to our spoon with a pretty powerful metaphor. Imagine that exact same spoon is sitting in a pitch-black room. A single statistical test, like churning out one p-value, is the equivalent of turning on a small flashlight and briefly shining it on the spoon in the dark. Yes, you saw a piece of it. That is a real, valid observation. But shining a flashlight on a spoon just once in a dark room absolutely does not mean you know the whole spoon. Not even close. Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, Importance of Multiple Verification, Lighting Up the Room. This brings up the logical next question, right? If one flashlight, one statistical test, or one single observation isn't enough to actually see the whole spoon, how on earth do we light up the entire room? Well, the answer is multiple verification. We literally just need more flashlights. You don't just stop at one observation and call it a day. You change the sample you're looking at. You test it again at a completely different time. You alter the environmental conditions. You change up the mathematical method of your analysis, and ideally, you bring in entirely independent models. By doing all of this, you are effectively shining light from multiple different angles, aggressively looking for overlapping common evidence. However, I have to give a warning here. Even as we gather all these different flashlights, we must remain rigorously disciplined, because consistency does not equal absolute truth. Even if 5 different models all point to the exact same conclusion, they might literally all be sharing the exact same underlying blind spot or error. This is exactly why just having a sheer, massive number of tests isn't nearly as important as how truly independent and appropriate your testing methods are. Overlapping errors can and absolutely do happen in the real world. Finally, Section 5, Towards a Better Representation, the Transformed Perspective. Let's bring this all together. Let's move to our final conceptual shift and see how this builds into a really beautiful, complete perspective. We are going to bring our advanced statistical journey all the way back to where we started with the humble spoon. Remember, we began with a pretty arrogant assumption: I know the spoon. Then we took a step back and embraced the don't know mind, asking ourselves, wait, is what I know actually reality itself? And the answer was a resounding no. But, and this is the key, we didn't just give up and stop at ignorance. Through observation, meticulous data extraction, and multiple rigorous verifications, we transformed our entire stance. We moved to a don't claim mindset. We don't claim to possess absolute reality anymore. Instead, we humbly but confidently state that we have obtained a representation that expresses reality far, far better than we did before. And honestly, that is the ultimate takeaway here. Whether you are literally just looking at a piece of silverware on your dining table, or you're a data scientist analyzing massive petabyte-scale datasets to uncover the secrets of our universe, always remember this. We cannot say we know the object. We have simply obtained a better representation. So the very next time you're scrolling and you read some sensational headline aggressively claiming a new scientific study completely proves something with absolute 100% certainty, ask yourself, did they actually manage to light up the whole room? Or are they really just pointing a single flashlight in the dark?